I've started doing mentoring of anyone who wants to develop their psychic skills. So if you feel that you have those psychic skills and they are dormant, or you just want to upscale your intuition and your ability to be able to trust yourself and trust your own information when it comes through, or if you're interested in channeling, which is what I do, I'm now mentoring people to do that. So you can go onto my website and you can book a private session with me where we will talk about where you're at. So it doesn't matter where you're at, whether you're just starting or you've been doing it for a while. I am a clinical hypnotherapist. I don't do much of that anymore because I'm doing more of this psychic work, but I am a trained clinical hypnotherapist and a trained past life regression therapist. So I know all about getting into deep trance. And of course, when you're developing your psychic skills or your intuition or your channeling abilities, you want to be able to go into a trance. Now, some of you have trouble even meditating. And why is that an issue? Well, because all of the wisdom and higher knowledge that comes to us, whether it comes from our own higher self or whether it comes from another being that we have a connection with or a history with, or an ascended master, or we could say whether that comes from God, Goddess, all that is, any information that comes to us, they always call it the still, quiet voice within. And that's a tradition that it's always been called that. And so you have to be able to still the louder voice of your ego. So I like to explain it this way. It's not exactly like this, but it helps to explain it that you have an ego. So call your ego the left side of your brain. I'm turned around here, but I'm actually holding up my left hand. The left side of your brain, which is your conscious, rational, analytical brain hemisphere. And I like you to think of your ego sitting on your left shoulder. And then you have your right brain, which is your imagination, your creativity, your communication, and it's where your higher guidance connects to you in your right brain. And I like you to think of your right brain and your higher guidance as your authentic self. Think of it as your little angel sitting on your right shoulder. So you have your ego on one shoulder and your authentic self sitting on the other shoulder. And you've got to learn to discern the difference between your ego and your authentic self. Now, remember the ego. We call the ego the lower self. The ego always operates out of fear. It likes to not take risks and to maintain the status quo and to push people away. It's about withdrawing, isolating, staying safe. That's because that part of you is there to keep you safe as you live in third dimensional reality. But that part of you was only meant to be about 10% of your mind. And the other 90% is supposed to be you accessing the fuller version of you, your higher self, your soul, your greater being, your multi-dimensional self. And because we're reaching that time in history where we're all going through that shift in consciousness that we've been told about for at least I've known about it for 30 years. We were told we were going to go through a shift in consciousness and the age of Aquarius, where the veil was going to thin and we would be able to get more in touch with our greater self. And remember, your greater self, your higher self, your soul is still you. You're actually inside your soul, inside your energy self. So it's not a separate part of you. You don't have to go to, do huge, weird stuff to get in touch with your central self, your real self. It's you. But it's just that we are focused in third dimensional reality, in objective reality. Our ego's always worried about what's outside here. And your authentic self, the path to your authentic self is through the heart. So that's the path to your intuition. That's how you get in touch with your intuition.